right? Yeah, they know as well as me, right? Every time you go in there, and it's prison probation, etc. That went so much.
I built it. There we go.
Yeah. So like, what are they doing? Fun. Well, they don't. We got not inside. We're only having a picture of the flag. It's not against the law. We're allowed to do it for an hour legally. We're not able to cause any trouble. Well, last year and the year before, we never had a problem. We do it every year.
And we will do every year.
We will do it every year, he says. You know what I mean? So,
Well, if they get funny, mate, just block them coming in and out just outside there. You can do a static process for an hour. Project property.
well, we're doing it anyway. Yeah, boys.
We're doing it.
I want to film prisoners ejecting us, telling us we're not going for reception.
After they killed somebody, all responsible for murder.
Then we'll leave here. We're going to leave here now anyway. Just want to come let you know where. We're going to write down. We're going to do this kind of speeches. We're allowed to do it legally for an hour. We're not going to cause any trouble. Okay, we just want a picture of the flag in here, right? That's what we've got the picture now. So, yeah.
Maybe you read the report of what you'd actually done, you lot. Maybe you can sleep at night, because I wouldn't be able to, because I'm a human being with some empathy.
Worst prison in the UK. You know that, guys. Worst prison in the UK. More deaths here. Violence and stuff like that. Honestly, and the amount of drugs that comes into this prison. And if it weren't for Kevin's case, it wouldn't have come out. But it's an absolute scandal. What you're doing here and how you're treating people. And obviously, listen, guys, Kevin was white working class, which is the most disadvantaged class in the UK, closely followed by the West Indian community, my lads, you know what I mean? And we need something done about it. We're not having it. You're never held to account for anything that happens to people, especially in HMP prisons.
No other prisons.
You got screws bringing drugs into this prison. You know that. You know full well.
Yeah, you had another 6 under suspicion. I was at the inquest, so I know all about it. Your head of security was there, everything.
And that was it.
The geezer got 2.5 years as a prison officer for bringing 20,000
independent
worth of drugs and mobile phones into this prison.
And it was that independent monitoring board that got all this information out, and that we're only after Kevin's death. It weren't before or anything. And it's because of us pushing for it.
Look at their faces. They were shocked.
I don't know how they sleep at night.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to after being responsible and being culpable and complicit. Surely that should be murder or manslaughter after the fact.
Who's watching the screen? Listen,
I believe
Kevin Crean died in custody. In custody. 7 years today. 7 years today. Look at his case.
Not one person in the prison service or in here that was went down for corporate manslaughter. Look after your own, don't you?
And that's besides all the rest of the deaths here. So we're in Bristol HMP, guys. Justice for Bunny. A lot of you will know that I've been down Bristol several times, supporting the family and the mates of Kevin on our crappy prison system. which is overflowing. There's too many people in prison. This is an ancient prison, this. It's only supposed to be like single cells, and people are doubled up in them. And it's health and safety. It puts prisoners' health at risk in this prison and stuff like that. But it's the worst prison, guys. This is the worst prison in the UK. This is the worst prison. More deaths, more self-harming. The bent, corrupt screws. And if it weren't for Kevin's death, and it should have been done before this, but it was Kevin's death that pushed an inquiry that just put the prison down as the worst in the UK. And we're here. And like I said before, a white working class lad like Kevin is the most disadvantaged, discriminated class here in the UK. Closely followed, guys, by my West Indian brothers and sisters who are just as worse disenfranchised and disaffected by everything here. But justice for Bunny, guys, justice for Bunny.
Justice for Bunny. Just have a think about that blood you've got on your hands when you go home tonight. Blood on your hands.
Remember that? Please remember that when you go home, yes?
So yeah, guys. It was the independent monitoring board to do with prisons came out with this, and HMP Bristol is the worst of the worst, the slum of all slums in prisons in the UK. But we're here. It's the first time I've been to the jail, and like I said, Kevin comes under the class of the most disenfranchised, discriminated in the UK, white working class lad. Closely followed again, guys, by the West Indian lads that, you know, who are just as much under threat as everyone else, especially in jail. We've been up to the northeast where there's people died in jail, in police custody and stuff like that, all across the UK. There's nobody ever held to account for it, guys. Nobody, but justice for Bunny. HMP Bristol. You ain't said it all, Frank. You didn't said it all right. They couldn't do nothing. They couldn't do nothing.
They can't do nothing. You can't not like to build that in there.
So if you want to research up, lads, Kevin Crehan, Justice for Bunny. It's a case, you'll see it. He was halfway through a sentence and he died of a drug overdose. That corrupt prison guards had brought drugs into this. A prison guard was done for bringing in £20,000 worth of drugs and phones and stuff like that. And the drugs issue here is major. It's major. Let me just tell you. In just 1 year, the prison got 100 more people in, so 480 up to 580. And drugs it's the biggest threat to this prison. Drugs, guys, smuggled in by corrupt guards, and it's it's an issue. It's the biggest issue they've got here, and it's not just in this prison. A lot of prisons have this issue with drugs and stuff like that. No worries, Jez. I've been down here more than 7 times. We've protested in Bristol. We've done videos. What I'll do, I'll get Frank on a video in a couple of weeks and we'll talk about the case again. But no, it's wrong. The worst discriminated class of people, the white working class lad, who are just allowed to die. Like I said, closely followed by the white working class lads and West Indian and Caribbean lads, who are also discriminated, disenfranchised, disadvantaged in the UK. And there's been many deaths in UK prisons, across UK prisons, where there shouldn't have had to be. You know what I mean? And we should have more mental health. We should have more mental health help to prisons and stuff like that. But Big John, thank you for tuning in. We're at HMP Bristol. We're here protesting about justice for Bunny, Kevin Crehan, who died 6 months into a 12-month sentence, and he was fit up. He was fitted up, guys. And nobody says nothing. Nobody has been held to account for it. One screw got caught £20,000 worth of drugs and phones, but nobody has been held accountable for Kevin's death and all the rest of the deaths that we have in HMP Bristol. So we've been in the fire. They tried to throw us out. We didn't. We did our speeches and that. But with Kevin's family, his dad's down there, who I've met several times. Yeah, you're right, Jason. You're right. All right. I've got a good signal. So there's Frank Miles. He's kept it up all the time, Big Frank. No worries, mate. No worries. I'm honoured. And I've supported Frank more than half a dozen times. We've had lads from all over the country down here, patriots supporting the cause. But yeah, there'll be more on prisons. Let me guide you. But HMP Bristol, the worst in the country, guys. The worst in the country. I mean, Kevin's death brought on an investigation into the prison. But that investigation should have happened before Kevin's death, and maybe Kevin wouldn't have died. But we're here at HMP Bristol today. Got a bit of a few gathering, about a dozen people there. Yeah, don't forget all the deaths we have in these prisons. The white working class lad, closely followed by West Indian and Caribbean lads. They're the worst discriminated. They're the worst disadvantaged classes in the UK. Nobody says nothing. Absolutely nobody says nothing. And we just let them die in prison. We're not having it, guys. We're just not having it. But we're at HMP Bristol. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going now, but we've had a good 15 minutes. And if I do a live, I will talk more about the case. And I'll try and get Frank on as well, and we'll talk more about the case. But yeah, justice for Bunny. No, we don't forget, and we're still here protesting and going on about it all the time. And we want accountability, guys. We want accountability. We want accountability for the deaths happening in this prison. In just a year, in just 1 year, there were 9 deaths, guys. 9 deaths in 1 year at this prison. 1 year, you couldn't make it up. You won't hear about it on news. It's absolutely silent. Nothing gets said. And like I said, the worst class of person to be disadvantaged and disfranchised is a white working class, but closely followed by the West Indian and Caribbean lads. And we're just letting them die in prison. That's what we're doing. We're not even helping them out on the mental health or anything like that. They don't get the kind of support that they should do. Prisons are full of foreign prisoners anyway. Remember, we have murderers, rapists, gangsters, drug dealers who've been convicted of that in Europe who are over here filling our prisons. Let's empty them out and look after our own for a change. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm angry that the West Indian community and Caribbean lads, they're treated just as bad in prison. And dozens of them have been died under suspicious circumstances across the UK for years, and no one says anything. No one says, well, we say something. We've been protesting justice for Bunny. 7 years to the day he died, guys. 7 years. And we want some accountability, especially off the HMP system. We do. It's just not fit for purpose. That prison isn't fit for purpose. Which corrupt screws are bringing drugs in and killing our lads. Scummy prison. So I'm at HMP Bristol, guys. Are we, yeah, we're going. We're going. Are we? Yeah. Right. So we're at HMP Bristol, guys. Justice for Bunny, 7 years to the day that he died. 6 months into a 12-month sentence, and he was fitted up by the police and the system. And 3 weeks he had to go, and unfortunately, he's the most disadvantaged class, which is a white working class lad. And again, I said that, but I also tell you that the West Indian and Caribbean lads are just as much disadvantaged, especially in the HMP system, and we want it sorting out. If there's any more deaths here, we'll be coming down protesting again, and hopefully we can get petitions together to get the prison knocked down, man. It's ancient. There's supposed to be a single cell prison, but they're doubled up. The health and safety of the prisoners is at risk, and they know this. This is what that reporter said, guys, that their health and safety is at risk because of overcrowding. And nobody says anything. Nobody does anything. You don't see about it on the news or anything like that, well, you should do. Oh. So we're at HMP Bristol, guys. And it's Justice for Bunny, 7 years to the day he died. And we're calling out, we want accountability off the HMP system. We want it revamped, we want it sorting out, and want our lads who are in prison looked after better. Because no matter what they've done, that is someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's brother, someone's uncle, or a family member, and we're not having it. And they get treated like dirt and they end up dying, and we're not having it. What a scummy prison. Remember, this in 1 year, there's been the capacity has been increased to 580 in just 1 year. And it's overcrowded, guys. It's seriously overcrowded. It's putting prisoners' health and safety at risk, and everything needs to be sorted out. Make sure you pass that round, guys. If you're on Twitter or anything like that, get this stream flicked onto Twitter. Tell people that we want it sorting out. We're sick of the deaths. We're sick of our brothers and sisters dying needlessly. Remember, it was a corrupt prison guard bringing £20,000 worth of drugs and phones in, and he only got 2.5 years. Is that it?
2.5 years ago.
Cunts!
There were 6 officers at that time.
Did you hear that, guys? So there was another 6 officers under suspicion for the same thing as that officer. Frank was at the inquest, so he knows. Honestly, he just couldn't make it up. He just couldn't make it up. Yeah, and they are. Yeah, you're right, Timmy. So, are them visitors? So we've got a load of visitors there. I hope they know how bad this prison is. Do they know people who've died in it? What was that? Good. Talk about it more. Yeah, tell everyone to go on about the prison and how bad it is because somebody died here and he shouldn't have done. Because a corrupt prison guard brought £20,000 for drugs and phones in. And everyone's eyeing there and he's putting their health at risk, but nobody does nothing. So yeah, we're HMP Bristol, guys. There's some visitors coming in, heard me. And I'm not making nothing up. All this is in the public domain. All this has been done by an independent monitoring board for prisons. So I'm just reading what they've put down, and if they say it's overcrowded, it's overcrowded. If they say that prisoners' health and safety is at risk, then that's right. So I just hope people know and realise it's an ancient prison as well, guys. It's only supposed to be single cell, but there's people doubled up in it, and it's health and safety. You know what I mean? And how many prisoners have health issues because of overcrowding and stuff like that, but no one wants to talk about it. It's a prison. People are in prison. We only like prisoners when they're terrorists in the UK. That's it. Them are the only ones who get any decent thing. Everyone else gets treated like shit. And remember, guys, Kevin Crean was white working class, most disadvantaged, disfranchised class, closely followed by the West Indian and Caribbean lads. And I wonder how many of them deaths have been West Indians or Caribbeans.
Come on! Workers!
So yeah, guys, we're at HMP Bristol.
How comes no one's been done for corporate manslaughter when you were found to be culpable with someone?
Yep, Andrew, I agree. Yeah, it is a massive problem. That's why we need to bring people to account.
Geezer. Rob.
But thank you for tuning in. I know it's a surprise one. I mean, Bath, and it's Kevin's 7-year anniversary. He died today. And I've practically been down every year protesting in and around Bristol. And we want to hold the prison system to account. As a leader of a registered political party, I can have input on this kind of thing. I want to see the systems that police use when they're arresting people, because of people who die in police custody as well. Andre Moore, Oldham, died in police custody. He never did nothing, and he got kneed to the chest 7 times. We know Black Lives Matter for Andre Moore. I'll tell you that. You know, that's one of hundreds, if not thousands, of police custody and HMP deaths in the UK. And nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. People die and they're just forgotten about. And it's just not fair, guys. It's just not fair. So we're at HMP Bristol. There's a few of us here.
Eddie Cooper, I totally understand. You know, when I left the army after 6 weeks, I got arrested. I went to prison myself for 9 months. For drugs. Anyway, that's enough.
Right, I'm going, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll talk more about this, and I'll get Frank on and we'll do a live video, a live stream, and we'll talk more about the case. But thank you, Big John here, HMP Bristol. Thanks very much. Thank you.